experience, man. Like I literally had like $50 in my account one month after paying expenses. I didn't even pay. Like I was literally losing money on my own end too. Like it was insane. We weren't booking good jobs, or even jobs in general. The leads were not great. It was just a rough time.
How much did you actually spend on ads and fees with your previous marketing agency?
Whew. Probably, I'm kid you not, probably like 30, 40 grand. We got up to, I think the best we were doing at the beginning, it was the first year. I think we were doing like 18, like 20K a month, just kind of hovering in that little area first time
Yeah.
around.
And for everyone wondering, what did you make last month in Feb? What did the business make?
It was 50K.
Nice.
Yeah, did 50K.
Not too
Yeah,
bad.
so we did good on that. Yep.
Nice. And what did you notice in terms of like maybe the lead quality, or what did you notice that was different that allows you to now hit that 50K a month? And by the way, like for people wondering, this was in the winter. This growth has happened in the winter, not in the
Yep.
summer. Everything's busy anyways.
Yeah, so yeah, the winter was good. Just yeah, the lead quality was a lot better. Actually people that want to book and they're engaging with me.
What advice would you give to these people who are a little bit nervous or maybe hesitant? Maybe they've even been burned by another agency in the past. What advice would you give to those people?
Yeah, I'd say work with Ish right here, the man. Go ahead.
All right. So, Evan, who are you? Tell the people who you are, what services you offer, and what do you do?
So I am the owner of Alamo Auto Aesthetics. We do paint protection film, window tint, vinyl wrap, any film work, ceramic coatings, paint correction, stuff like that, auto-based aesthetic stuff in San Antonio, Texas.
Awesome. And where were you briefly before working with us the first time? Like, how much were you making? All of that stuff.
The first time around?
Yeah.
First time around, because we were at that point, it was a straight up startup. I was working at a company before getting knowledgeable in this industry and perfecting my craft before I started my own business. And then when we started, it was just like raw. I think we only had like 5 reviews on Google. It was just
So
starting
basically,
with nothing really. Starting like from scratch. And yeah, we got up to, I think the best we were doing at the beginning, it was the first year. I think we were doing like 18, like 20K a month, just kind of hovering in that little area first time
yeah.
around.
And for everyone wondering, what did you make last month in Feb? What did the business make?
It was 50K.
Nice.
Yeah, did 50K.
Not
Yeah,
too
so we did good on that. Yep.
nice. And I guess like during your whole time of doing the business, you've tried different things. Like before working with us, what had you tried doing before?
Well, we did have like that 6 month period. We did try another agency at that time. I was trying something new and just didn't work. We were losing money. Like on paper, we were not on paper. I mean, I saw the bank account just completely just going down. We weren't booking good jobs, or even jobs in general. The leads were not great. It was just a rough time when we tried somebody new. Good people, but just were not able to get good jobs.
What do
So
you think it is though that they weren't able to get you those results and you weren't able to book jobs?
it was really the lead quality. The lead quality just wasn't good. We were getting leads, but the lead quality, I just the people that I was getting were not really wanting to book. It was very odd. I would say 90% of the people I would speak to over the phone, I do exactly what I do with any customer, ask them questions, try to feel out how serious they are, give them information. And at the end, a lot of people were just not wanting to book. And of course, I always try to overcome rejections or objections by people and try new things. And I would ask them, is it the price? Are you unsure about the material? Like, what is holding you back at this moment? And a lot of the times, kid you not, most people were like, well, I just don't know if I really want to do it. Like, I'm just like, I don't even, or a lot of people too, they'd be like, I don't even have the car yet. I don't know if I'm going to get it. I just don't understand. I was getting a lot of those. They're like, I don't even know if I'm getting the car. I'm like, so you don't have the car yet? They're like, no, we're just kind of like shopping around. So I was just getting a lot of leads like that. It was just very unserious people. And sometimes they didn't even have the vehicle, or if they might not even get it. So it was
Did you
just,
ever
yeah,
mention
bad
this
leads.
to like whoever was running your ads in the past? Did you tell them that, hey, the leads aren't booking?
Yes, and then they would try new things, and it'd be weird. Like that week when they would try new things, it would work. We'd book more jobs, and all of a sudden back to like nothing. So it was very odd. I'd speak up, let them know my concerns. We try something new that week. Boom, we start booking some decent jobs, and then the next week back to like just going downhill. And it was just very odd.
Yeah. And at the end, like, what was it that made you be like, okay, I'm gonna stop working with them, look for something else? What was that point in time for you?
Dude, that month when I looked at the bank account and I saw like $50 in there, I said, "Wow!" I said, "This is not like this. This is not how a business should be running." And we were doing our part too. I go out there and I'll be honest. What was holding down the shop was just me and the guys that work with me. We were out there trying to go to car shows and communities and just kind of introduce ourselves and let people know what we do. And that
Mhm.
was working, and it still does. We do that all the time. We love being a part of the community and just getting out there, and that works. That was keeping us afloat, because we weren't getting any solid leads. So thankfully, we were doing that. That was kind of still booking jobs for us.
Yeah. With any shop, it's important to like have different channels so that, let's say your marketing isn't working for any reason, then you still have like word of mouth, car shows, whatever it is. That's very important. And a lot of shop
Get
owners
out
don't
there.
make that effort.
Yep. You got to get out there really
Yeah.
and set up a tent, and it's an investment too. It's not cheap sometimes when you're doing things like that also, but going to events and like just being a part of the community and being a good part of the community, right? Doing good work, and people know that's what helps out too. It's all about good work. Like if you don't do good work, you'll never succeed either.
Yeah, exactly. That's the case with anything. But tell me about like when you switched, when you came back to us, what did you notice in terms of like maybe the lead quality, or what did you notice that was different that allows you to now hit that 50K a month? And by the way, like for people wondering, this was in the winter. This growth has happened in the winter, not in the
Yep.
summer, where everything's busy anyways.
Yeah, so yeah, the winter was good for sure. Just yeah, the lead quality was a lot better. Actually people that want to book and they're engaging with me. Because back when I was working with that other company, a lot of the people felt like they didn't even want to engage, like on the phone asking questions. They were just so unsure and like almost like they just didn't even want to do it. But I was also doing meta ads, if I may say. I just meta ads, it's like a hit or miss in my opinion
Mhm.
when it comes to certain services. But yeah, just very unserious. But when we went back to y'all with the winter, just great leads, people actually like engaging and serious people that want to get the job done.
Mhm. And the thing is, like, what would you say to those people who maybe they've tried some experience like you did, but they ended up maybe blaming it on their market? Because you're in San Antonio, it's very competitive. There's a lot of shops, people are undercharging. What would you say to those people who are just saying, oh, it's my city, it's my market, I just can't make decent money?
That's not true at all. Like maybe if you live in a city where like there's only 20 people that live in the city, like that's
20
small,
cities
then
like that
maybe.
even exist.
But no, when you're living in major cities, even if you even have a city with just 100,000 people, right? Because San Antonio, there's millions here. But even those cities with 100,000 people only, like it's not that, You just have to be the best at the city, right? And if you have good marketing that's getting you leads, and you also have a good reputation of quality work, then you will never fail. So marketing is super important to get those people. And then once you get those people, you have to do the best job possible. And if you do that, put those two together, game over. Like you'll always stay busy. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter where you're at. You can be in a bad I mean, honestly, you could even be in a bad location. Like if you're just good at what you do and people know that, they'll go to you.
Yeah.
So
And talk to us
that's
about sales as well, because that's another big thing that you heavily focus on, and you're good with people naturally over the phone. So how have you seen that help you book more jobs?
say again. What was that?
Sales itself, like being
Sales
good over the
itself.
phone, being able to convince people to go with you, all of that stuff. Like, how have you seen that help you versus just maybe calling someone, giving the price, and being like, okay, do whatever you
Yeah,
want?
no, like people need to trust you. If you just go on the phone and because I watch those Instagram videos all the time too, where like I'll hear shops like doing like test calls on other shops to like get their how they like sell stuff.
Mhm.
And I'll hear some really plain ones like I would not want to book with that guy. Like
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Hey, how's it going?" This or not even like energetic. They'll be like, "Hello, this is so and so window tint," and you'll be like, "Oh my God." Like they don't even sound happy.
Yeah.
So
It's
you
like they
gotta, you gotta,
like,
yeah, yeah. Like people want someone that's they can trust, And yeah, with sales, you just gotta you gotta get that trust from those people. But really, what the main thing is too is just again being doing good work and doing honest good work. That too. So just being, I like to be just completely upfront with customers because I'll hear shops and I'll hear customers that'll call me and they'll say, "Oh, this other shop told me this," which is totally untrue. Like it's not. But you got to watch out because there's a lot of pop-up shops and they'll say whatever it takes. They will say whatever it takes to book a job, and they
Mhm.
might not be here in 4 or 5 years. The shop will probably be shut down, but at the moment they're operating. So you got to watch out. There's those type of people, and I'll get so many customers all the time, especially here in San Antonio, and they'll say, "Oh, this shop said this," and I'll be like, "What?" Like they'll just like for example, like I had a guy call me. He had a brand new like GMC Denali, and they'll have those chrome grills, and they were saying like it's doable. Like yeah, you can get PPF to stick on chrome, but it won't like it won't stick forever. And like this guy, the shop was just saying crazy stuff, and then they said that the PPF can last like 20 years. I'm like, what? Like they were literally just saying such absurd stuff just to get the
Say,
customer to book. And again, at the end of the day, they will probably be out of business in 3 to 4 years. But at the moment, they are scamming people. So that's another thing with sales. People can pick up on that energy. So you got to be like real with people up front and just give them realistic expectations. I do that all the time, and I always book a job because of that too. Just giving realistic expectations, letting them know exactly how it's going to be. This is how it's going to look. This is how the film will perform over the years. I let them know there is going to be normal wear and tear. Like I'm just very upfront because I don't want someone coming back in 2 years saying, "Oh, you didn't tell me this." So I try to just bite everything at once and just get it out of the way, and it works really good. Just being like upfront, letting them know how everything's going to always be.
yeah.
So
Another important thing is when that person trusts you, then they can sort of, you can have a conversation of, hey, this shop is charging this much, or they will even say it's too expensive. What happens is when someone doesn't even trust the other person, they won't even tell them what the objection is, or they won't even say anything. They'll just be like, thank you, and they'll hang up. So you have to
yeah,
get them to trust you for them to actually even tell you, oh, for them to even say, oh, Evan, it's too expensive, or like, oh, Evan, this shop was charging this much. So
yep.
trust is very important in even getting that objection.
Exactly. And then I've worked with all types of customers. I work with some people who it's like they're like in a shell. You got to really go in there and grab them and pull them out of their shell because they're those type of people. That's how my dad is. My dad's one of those guys. Like he's like in a shell, and like it's hard to like get him to like engage.
Yeah.
So I get customers like that too, and I overcome it all the time. And my favorite line too, because like a lot of people, I'll always ask what objections are. And sometimes it will be the price, right? They'll say, I just don't know like the pricing, because like I called this one shop and they're like $1,000 cheaper. And then I'll always, when they tell me the shop, I'll say, well, go look at the reviews, because a lot of times the shops that are cheaper, they have some pretty bad reviews too. So I'll tell them, look at the reviews and also think of this, you can pay a cheaper price, but what if you have to come back every 4 months and to fix things?
Mhm.
you know so for the next 10 years, right? Because that's most PPF will last this, because we do a lot of PPF, and I'll tell them PPF lasts 10 years. Do you want to come back every year and have them fix stuff, or do you want it done right the first time and you have 10 years of peace of mind? And I
Mhm.
say stuff like that to let them know, because it's true. Like we do it right the first time at our shop, but I've seen a lot of bad PPF. It's crazy, especially here in these big cities. Like you'll get these guys that are doing like full bodies for like $4,000, and I'll have customers that'll come to my shop. I've had multiple, like over the just the 2 years we've been in business at this location, and I'll look at their car and it is insanely bad.
Yeah.
They'll have like cuts on their paint because the guy put too much pressure with the knives or wrong blades, and they've cut the paint. Like I'll see it on mirrors all the time because they just slice it up.
Yeah.
I've uh I've seen a lot of that burning stuff with like torches and stuff. It is just crazy. Like you gotta be careful
Yeah.
who you take your vehicle to.
And the
Like I
thing,
tell people,
exactly, and customers don't know this. Like one thing tint shops need to realize, and here's how I like to think about it. If I'm getting a service, or if you're getting a service, and you find out from one shop that it's going to cost you $400, another shop is going to cost you $800. On paper, like no one in their right mind would want to pay some like more money, right? No one would want to pay 800 for something they think they can get for 400. And that's how most customers think. That's why it's our job, as you said, to educate them. Okay, this is what happens. This is why it's a cheaper price. Or we can ask questions like, well, what do you feel like they're sacrificing on that's allowing them to price themselves cheaper? Like, it's our job to explain that, because no sane person would want to pay more money for the same thing.
Yeah, right. Because on paper, like, and that's a great thing, especially in our industry too, because a lot of customers, I'd say 90% of them are going to think all film is the same. They really do. And you have to educate them that each brand is different, right? There's a reason why the brand you can order on Amazon is $90 a roll for a full roll, and then why is a professional brand like what we use is like $500-600 a roll. There's a reason, because that roll on Amazon is going to turn purple in 6 months, and then when you try to remove it, it's going to rip off your defroster lines too. Like,
Yeah.
it's because it's bad film. So you have to but people don't know that, so you have to educate them. But yeah, you'll get so many different prices, and like that's what I think confuses customers too, because the industry has become very saturated too. There are so many people that are doing it, and they're offering all these different films. You'll get a guy that say, I'll tint the car for 200, and then you'll get a guy that you said, I'll tint it for 800. So people are like, oh my God, so like, what are the differences? And I get that all the time. And that's when you come in to educate them, and that's when sales is really important. You educate a customer onto why you're paying what you're paying, but
Yeah.
you have to back it up by doing good work and actually providing them with the best material possible. You can't just say stuff like that and then like try to finesse them. You gotta back up what you say. So as long as you do that, most people will book with you. Most people do want quality too. They
Yeah.
do, and you just gotta let them know, like, you want it one and done, or do you want it done and then you got to come back 20 times throughout the year to get things fixed up? Like, I don't want to do that, and most customers don't either, so you educate them on that.
Yeah, and it's our job to let them know, because otherwise they won't know. But yeah, sales is very important with any business. Like, it works together with marketing. That's what we've seen our shops get like the biggest results, is they focus on both of those things
Yep.
um
Sales
together.
is
And
super important. That is so important. Being a good salesman is very important, because at that point, if you don't have a good sales guy, the shop won't stay busy, right? You can have a great marketing team that gets you all the leads, but imagine you have a guy that answers the phone all the time, like, hello, yeah, um,
exactly.
it's like $500. You want a book? Like you get guys like that, and that's like so bad.
What's worse is, like, I saw Austin Cook. He was calling some shops, and
There
this
you
one,
go. Yep, that's what I was
yeah.
thinking of.
So this one guy he calls is like, okay, it's gonna be 600 for this ceramic plus, 400 for ceramic, 200 for carbon, and he gave him like 4 or 5 options. And if you give someone 5 options, then of course the person will have a think about it objection, or of course they'll be confused, as you said, when they hear so many different prices. Like, who is not going to be confused? Like, when you just
Yeah.
have like 2 options, like a ceramic or carbon, or let's say the third one, which you can upsell in person, it's way more clear. Here, for
Yep.
this you can get this, a little bit less heat rejection, which you save a little bit of money, is this carbon.
Yep. That's
So
that's the thing too. We have three options. We have like a nano carbon, we have a standard ceramic, and then we have like a nano ceramic. It's gonna like block out more heat. And I just, again, being honest with the customer, okay, the nano carbon is gonna block out a little bit of heat, right? I like to do it like this: best, better, and good. So good is like the carbon, right? So carbon's gonna block out a little bit of heat. It's mainly for privacy, right? Because you can pick any shade you want, and it has a little bit of heat rejection, UV protection, and glare reduction. Ceramic's going to be the next step up. This one's going to have better heat rejection, better glare reduction, and better UV protection. And then the best of the best would be nano ceramic. This one's going to have great heat rejection, great UV protection, and great glare reduction. And then you just let them pick. And I always like to follow up with, which one do you think is best for you? And then they'll let you know. They're going to tell you. You got to engage with customers. It's your job to call them,
yeah.
right? And you got to engage with them. So ask them what they want, ask questions. Which one do you think is best? Oh, Evan, I think ceramic. Most of the time, most of my customers like the ceramic, because nano ceramic is more expensive. And I have a heat lamp, so I'll show them at the shop. And
Mhm.
ceramic and nano ceramic, you'll feel the difference. Don't get me wrong. It's going to block more heat. But a lot of customers like the ceramic because even for that price, like it's doing a great job at blocking heat. So
Mhm.
most customers will say, okay, I want to go. I think the ceramic would be the best choice. Okay, perfect. I have availability this Tuesday. Does that work for you? Just like lock it, try to lock it in,
Be
you know,
surprised
and
the
then
people that don't even ask like when do you want to do it, or I can get you in.
yeah, you gotta be hungry. Like you gotta be hungry and again, be hungry, be straight up with these people and let them know what they're getting.
Yeah,
And then I
exactly.
like to let them know, it's a lifetime warranty too, this and that. So yeah, like sales for me is really easy. I know it is hard for some people, truly. Like I have a cousin and he tried sales for a while and he's just what is it? Is it an introvert? The people that don't like to really get out of their shell, kind of be a little bit more to themselves. He's
Exactly.
he's an individual like that. So, sales wasn't great for him. So it's not for everybody. I'll be honest. Sales is not for everybody. I see videos where they're like, anybody can be in sales. No, it really isn't because you got to be locked in here. If you're not locked in your brain,
Yeah, I think
it's not going to work.
you have to be willing to learn because I would probably classify myself as an introvert when I started, and I would not like going on calls and stuff. But you can also just learn, and if you're constantly exposed to that and you're willing to improve, like you can make it work. It's just dependent on like, what do I want to put in that
It's
effort?
here.
Because some people
It's here.
naturally, yeah,
It's
some
it's
people
in your
naturally
brain.
extroverted.
It's in your brain. If you can tell yourself you can wake up every morning because there is no such thing as a perfect day. Remember that. You make it a perfect day. There is no such thing as a perfect day. You make it a perfect day. So if you wake up in the morning and you believe that you can be the best at what you're doing, yeah, you're right. You can do it. But that why I say that it's not for everyone is because not everybody can do that. Not everybody can rewire their brain to wake up like that every day and be a salesperson. So not everybody really can do it, but if you can do it in your brain and say I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna be the best salesperson I can. I'm gonna try new things. It's all trial and error too,
Mhm.
just try new things. Yeah,
And don't be
most
afraid of
customer.
that's another.
Yeah, don't be afraid of rejection. Not everybody's gonna book, right? Not everybody's gonna book. We know that, but what you can do. I have great conversations even with people that don't book. I'll have people that'll be like, you know what, Evan, I'm gonna hold off for now, but damn, like this, you're like, I enjoyed like talking and all this stuff, and just engage with everybody, be good, be a good person, and be good with everybody, and it always works out. It always
Yeah.
works out.
That's exactly right. Now I do want to ask you something because a lot of people might resonate. When we like first, or when you were starting the business and you first started putting some money in ads, were you like ever scared or hesitant to start spending that money? Did you ever feel like, okay, I'm gonna have to spend like a couple grand in ads, and I'm a little scared or nervous?
No, not at all, because to make money, you got to put some money out. Like you're not going to get some back, and that's really what anything you're kind of doing. If you want to make some money, you got to put some money out. So I
Yeah.
wasn't really scared. I knew I was going to have to put some money down, and it all worked out. But no, not really. I say it will get scary for some people because, for example, like getting a shop and everything, that's I don't want to drop numbers, but it wasn't cheap. I was way over the thousands. Like it was thousands and thousands and thousands to start a shop, do all that, get equipment, this and that. If anybody's watching this specific part, go look up how much a plotter is, right? Things are not cheap.
Mhm.
So you have to have some money saved up. I'll be honest. You can't like I wouldn't recommend. I've seen some videos where they're like, get a loan. I don't recommend that. I don't like because not every business works. So I don't recommend always like going and getting a 20, 30,000 dollar loan on like certain businesses sometimes, depending on what you're doing. But yeah, I knew I was gonna spend money. You have to. So I wasn't really scared. I knew it was all gonna work out for sure.
So what advice would you give to these people who are a little bit nervous or maybe hesitant? Maybe they've even been burnt by another agency in the past. What advice would you give to those people
What advice I would give to them is to
trying
work with
trying
you.
something else, trying something new?
Yeah, I'd say work with Ish right here, the man. Go
The thing
ahead
the thing
and
I like to say is like, sorry to cut you off, but like it's like when we get into a relationship, like the person we end up marrying, it's not the first person like we date or like we're in a relationship with, right? So just
yep,
because it doesn't work one time doesn't mean that it's just not going to work.
Yeah, and I always tell people try new things. Worst thing that's gonna happen is it doesn't work, and you just gotta do something new. But yeah, like, and also take that risk. Anybody looking at it, start it, do it, take the risk, be your own boss, get the marketing, do it all. Like, you take the risk. That's what life's about. One day we're all gonna die. We know that, right? We're all gonna die. Do you want to be 70, 80 years old and look back and say, "Wow, I just never took the risk"? Like, there's so many people that are that age now, and they're looking back and they're like, "I should have done things different." Just take the risk, start a business. If you're good at what you do, it'll all work out. I promise.
Yeah,
Just do
awesome.
it.
Awesome. The words right here from Mr. Evan himself. Appreciate that. Last thing before we hop off, just for context, and maybe I'm a little curious myself, without naming any names, how much did you actually spend on ads and fees with your previous marketing agency?
Whew. Probably, I'm kid you not, probably like 30, 40 grand.
Oh,
Yep.
in what span of time?
About like 6 months, I'd say.
Okay, about 30,
That's why
40.
that's why I tell people it's not cheap. It's not cheap. So have some money saved up. That way you can invest in yourself. But work like what I did, because I was in this industry for a long time before I started my own business. And like I'd work all day at this shop, and then at night I'd go like, work at a construction company, like digging ditches on the highway they were building. Straight really. Because like I was like, I need to save up as much money as possible. So I was just working so much, saving up money because I knew I was gonna have to invest into the business at all. You have to invest into your business. And I personally didn't want to get a loan for stuff. So I just worked a crap ton and saved up money and just took the risk. So
Nice, and it's paying off, as we can
it
see.
definitely is. It
But
definitely is. But again, you gotta do good, honest, quality work. You have a good marketing team. That's one step. That's the first step. Get the leads in, get a good sales guy to lock in the jobs. And then you have a guy doing the work that does it exceptionally well. And if you do all three of those right and you give the people what they want as a good final product, you won't fail with
yeah,
anything you do.
exactly. And lastly, like, what's the next step for you, like revenue wise? Where do you want to be with the shop? What do you want to be making in the next year?
Oh, 100 plus, right? Monthly. That's the goal. We've hired some people with onto our team now, window tinners, and the goal is to just keep them constantly busy. That way they have work and yeah, just to have start hitting those 100K months. There are a lot of shops here in town that are doing it already. But they've been established for a while, but no reason why we can't get there too.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. It'll happen for sure. But yeah, thank you for the interview, Evan. Really appreciate your time. All right, guys, that is it. If you want to know more, just reach out to me. It's going to be something somewhere in the comments below. That is it. Take care.